All right, we're live. Services is excellent. There's the link. And then I post the link because V Time is asking, but we're missing Barry. Which she's probably getting off work now. Is that the correct one? Hold on. Yeah, of course. We're company. Why wouldn't we be company? Delete. 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 No overlapping, please. This here. How's it looking? Desktop's muted. My Discord's disabled. I'm loud. You guys are medium because sometimes you're loud. It looks pretty good. I guess we just post a link where we can. Post. And then post here. Okay. Where's the script? Are we? Can you type something in the chat? I'm not sure if I picked the right one. Did I pick the right one? Oh yes, I did. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. Good. Gucci. We're Gucci. All right. We're. Let me go to the little intro you made for for us. Where is it? Where is it? Schedule. Oh, there it is. All right. Well, welcome everybody to another podcast. It's your girl Nikki, and today we're gonna talk about the daily life of an R5 and an R4. In this podcast, we have a couple R5s and some R4, like myself. I'm an R4. And we have Maddie, who's an R5. You're an R5, right? She's an R5. And Gitchy probably is an R4. And Lumber, who was an R5, but he has big roles in leadership from his nation. He's delivering a package. He's not going to answer. That's a good rotation. Mm-hmm. During our void. We're also gonna have Boogie, Oxy, and Mr. J. Um, they're running a little late, but they're gonna come in a little later. Chicken. Um, so yeah, we can start with our first question. Let's see. The first question, I'm gonna start with Maddie while the others come over. What will you tell your R5, R4 self now if you knew what you did when you started? So basically, what will you tell your past self before, what will you tell your past self when you became R5? Oh, Maddie, wait, they can't hear you. Sorry, Maddie, 1 second. Why can't we hear you? I know, but the Discord is not moving, and that's supposed to be moving. So why is it not moving?
I'm wondering if it's an audio thing, but maybe you just need to
It's an
turn them
audio
up a bit.
thing. It's an audio
Yeah, I
thing.
think you need to turn us up.
1 second.
Can you guys hear your?
No, they can't hear me either. Oh no. Yeah, I think Nikki, you're changing the settings. You've got to set too quiet. You should crank yourself up to like 200 and then leave us at 100.
Can you hear yourself now?
Veneer says, "Hello, Nikki. Did you remember me?" Oh, I need to
Yes,
get your donation.
Veneer, I remember you. Just give me 1 second. I'm having, what's the word? Difficulties.
It's all good.
Because for some reason the Discord is not moving now. That's weird.
I can see yours moving.
I
They
mean,
said that they can hear both of us now, so that's good.
You
okay.
can hear me?
Hopefully the computer doesn't make noises because I had to turn on the desktop side. Well, their Kitchi is working and Lumberg is doing packaging stuff, but if you can hear them too, then you can hear them later as well, because now I activated all the sounds. So it should all work now. I guess Maddie, you need to start from the beginning when I asked the question, and then we'll go now.
Oh, I forgot what I said. No,
You
the
said
main
you said
no,
don't give people second chances.
well, it's not don't give them second chances. It's that man, this game you've got to burn people early, and the longer you let them be a nuisance, the stronger they get and the more time they have invested. So if you cut your problems out early, it leads to a lot of long-term longevity for your nation because you've got rid of the problem children. There's always going to exist. Problem children will always exist, but my issue was early on, I was very nice and I gave so many people the benefit of the doubt. And I regret that decision because I knew I was going to burn them. I kept putting it off because I wanted to give them a chance. And some people are just not worth saving.
So when can you tell enough is enough?
Well, so when your nation gets to its first frenzy or void, I think you're, about 6 months in or so. That's when you can start to see when the good players, are emerging. And I think that's the point where you've got to take a hard look at your nation and decide who dies and who lives.
It is a good point. Um, hey Jay, welcome to the podcast. Can you hear us?
Hey, Nikki. Yes, I am with
All
you now.
right. So you've been in R5 and R4 for the longest, from what I know. You were from World 68. I'm not sure which one was your first world. But the first question I asked Maddie,
74.
74. All right. So the first question
Uh,
I asked Maddie was, what will you tell your past self before you started becoming an R5 or interning? What will you tell your past self before going into leadership in this game?
don't continue the game.
We need for something different.
No, I know,
The-
I got the question, but for real, it's very, very exhausted. Don't accept, just enjoy the R1 life. Play, enjoy the game. You don't have anything to care about or give yourself headache. And also, quit the game from the first month.
Quit the game the first moment you became R5.
no,
Yes,
that would be my advice too. But I was trying to be nice. You said don't be doom and gloom, but
Yeah,
honestly, that's
we're not allowed to doom and gloom on the podcast because
Just
what
not too
happens
much.
is viewership goes down because people only want to hear us talk about happy stuff.
Not just happy stuff, just stuff that are interesting, but
but
it's okay.
for real, it's a good moment to be R5, and you know what to do. Some people are R5 and don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the good things, you have a leadership team around you. You alone, you can do anything. And the main thing in the R5, you have good R4 with you, good deputy with you. They can carry you on. Alone, you will fail.
Mm. Yeah. Being R5 is hard. Lumberg, are you there? Or are you still delivering packages?
I'm here.
All right, so what will you tell your past self before becoming an R5 or advise yourself during your R5 days?
I'll give a little bit of history. So, my time in leadership is short, and I think that's ideal. I've preached rotation of leadership to share the roles, just to share the work. As Jay just mentioned, it is a lot of work, so it's really important to keep that in perspective, right? So, a lot of times, I think leadership really doesn't come from just the position, right? So you don't have to do everything as an R5. And if you played the game long enough, you kind of know who's a good leader, who's not a good leader, who's an absent leader, who just likes the title. And what I will say is that don't become a leader during a merge. That's although I volunteered for it, but some of it is I will preach kind of servant leadership, right? So a little bit opposite from Maddie. I do think you should give people, chances, second chances, but not third, just to be fair. And I'm trying to not be doom and gloom, but I believe in servant leadership, which is you practice what you preach, you lead by example. You're trying to kind of foster loyalty and kind of not force it, right? So that doesn't mean that you don't set strict rules. You set strict rules, you make it fair, you make it accountable. So really having somebody that can track performance, track people's participation is really important. So I think it's fair, honest, and verify. Trust but verify. And I'm going to keep on rambling, so I'm going to stop.
It's okay. Yeah, when you're R5, it's always best to rotate it because it is a lot. An R5 can go through so many messages, so many alerts, so many issues can pop up for one person to handle. It becomes too much, and that's why you see a lot of people quit. Like that's the fastest way for somebody to quit this game, just to be an R5.
Specifically, an R5 after a merge is
Oh
very,
yeah.
it's very insane.
So Lumberg, thank you for your sacrifice. I'm sure 285 appreciates your sacrifice and suffering. All right, second question. What do you wish people will know, what do you wish people knew about being an R5 and R4? Like sometimes you get people get too much with you and you're like, dude, it's just a game. I have a life. So I'm gonna throw that question to Jay. What do you wish people knew or understood about being an R5?
I know why you pick me first. Okay. So many people don't take this game serious, but it's game, winning or losing. Maybe some people take this game very personal. Okay, maybe we know during an attack or an event there is chance for win and chance for lose. The intent is very very high. Okay, someone made mistake, time, shut up, recalls. Some people take it very personal. If you want to continue this game and enjoy, take your emotion out. And I don't mean to be rude or something else, but you just need to follow what people saying. Okay, it's game. I don't care. No, you will care after you will be zero. That's the point. So take your emotion out and don't be very serious about the game. Just follow the rules. You're not special or something else. You like the another all players. Take your emotion out and follow your leader. That's it. It's simple.
What about you, Maddie?
Um, uh, Two answers. Really, the main thing I wish people know is how to play the damn game. That's the most important thing. But I really wish people would know, like, if they follow the rules, they don't get kicked, they don't get burned. But if somebody gets kicked and burned or whatever, then they send a message asking you, why was I kicked and burned? Well, if you don't know why, you probably need to stay that way. So I wish people would just pay attention to what they're doing and what's causing issues, you know?
Hi, Boogie. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the
Hey, Boogie.
podcast.
Hi, Boogie.
Boogie, hi.
All right, Boogie, since you're here, can you take a question or you're a little busy doing something?
No, later on. I'm a bit busy now, but later on, yeah.
Okay, in 10 minutes, I'll chat with you. Okay. Kitchi,
Yep.
what do you
Good
wish
morning.
people, good morning. What do you wish people knew or understood of being an R4?
That it is a difficult position because, like Mr. J said and Maddie said, we want to be objective as much as possible, but as you get on with the game, you get, you get into friendships, with people, and sometimes that friendship then, extends into, they're busy there, so they can't do this or they can do that. So I yeah, I think um that's the best advice. Don't take anything personal. It never is. Like if we enforce a rule, it's not about we just want to zero you. If you didn't follow the rule, then there's always consequences.
Mm,
Yeah, and one important point is very important is we don't want to have to make rules. Like
Mm.
we definitely don't want to have to enforce rules. When we
Mm-hmm.
do, it agitates the shit out of us, probably more so than it does getting burned on your end because we actually have to burn you. And it's like, well, shit, you know?
I think that's one of the hardest things about being an R4 and an R5 is if you want to be an effective one, and we talk about this all the time, like the issue of accountability, and we talk about it even amongst ourselves when we're chatting as leaders from different nations where if you've got a group that has rules and you've got instructions and people don't follow them, but you don't ever follow up on punishment, like those mean nothing. And it's genuinely one of the most unpleasant things to have to send someone a message to say you messed up and now I have to punish you. Like it's not fun. It's never fun. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle from being like an okay R4, R5 to being a good one, because it is the good ones that are able to say I have to punish you because that's just how it is.
Well, I think that's the thing. We can't we shouldn't probably use punishment. It's consequence. This is your action, and this is the consequence.
Yeah, I should
It's
be
not
using the word consequence.
you know it's not because you're a bad person or you're a bad player. It's just that this you forgot to shield, so I have to actually kill your troops so you don't give away points.
Yeah, and we
It's
don't
not
want to, we don't take joy
exactly.
from killing our own alliance at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, like everybody said, don't take it personal. When a leadership, when a nation is striving, like they win events, they do good in Void or in Frenzy, it's because there's rules. There's a rule and set, and everybody follows. If everybody follows, your nation will progress and will do good in, let's say, GC or any other events that it's outside. It's like for everybody to play in and for everybody to contribute. But if you have a group of people that can't follow the rule or an individual who can't, then there's no way. Someone needs to, like, you have to follow or you get burned, stuff like that. York, go with your
Simple.
other question. Thank you.
Okay. This one's going to be a good one, and we're going to try and keep it light. You guys only get one answer to this, so think hard. What is your biggest pet peeve as an R4 or an R5? We will start with Mr. J.
I don't understand the question. Sorry, my English is bad.
Oh, so pet peeve is like, what's the one thing that someone does where you're instantly just sort of like you're triggered or you're irritated?
There is one example. If you remember Nikki, the 13W, you remember him?
Who?
I think I
Oh,
think I
yeah, I
remember.
remember that guy.
Yeah.
Yes, this is good example.
He was the guy
Always,
who, in Void, we sent Sayez to do an SOS, and he joins into Sayez SOS.
That was one of
Who?
the very first times that I was just sort of casually peoning in 52, and this happened. And I don't know if I really wanted to crawl into a hole and die for this guy.
and if we're doing a trap, he just port next to the city. We are
Mm-hmm.
making as a bait. If we plan to speed attack on gift time, he speed before us 1 minute. Many things you can't ignore. And now he is dead.
Yeah. SS1 did the dirty work, so we're good.
All right, Maddie, what's your biggest pet peeve?
There are so many, so this is hard.
You get
Pick
one.
But
two.
I no, I'll give you one, and it's asking questions that you should already know the answer to after a year or 2 years playing the game. Like just asking the same stupid questions over and over and over again. It drives me nuts. It wastes my time, other people's time. Like, stop. Like, and I'm not saying don't ask questions. I'm saying don't ask basic questions that are common sense and shit we've been doing for a year.
Mm. Yeah, and
I
especially
could go on
those
that.
where the, they ask questions when the answer is right in the mail. Why don't they read the mail? Just read the mail
Well,
and your question will be answered.
yeah, no, that's another whole subject altogether. I wanted to stick to one.
Sorry, I don't read.
Sorry, I didn't read. I didn't know. Oops.
Okay, can I get an honorable mention to the asshole that always donates to food or oil technology whenever something else is set? I don't know why they do it or who does it. It drives me
That's
nuts. Sorry.
that's like a new nation issue. But when you're starting off and you pick something specifically like, hey, donate here, and everybody else was donating in farming, like food and oil. Like, why?
Yeah, they have to intentionally go in and do it. And it drives me nuts. I'm like, no, we need our melee HP up, not fucking oil.
Lumberg,
Mm.
what is your biggest pet peeve? And you get one.
Before I mention that, I just wanted to add to Maddie's honorable mention. We have a wonderful lady in our alliance. I'm not going to say who, but it also drives her crazy when people donate to like food or oil. So she has been screenshotting and finding out who is online when to try to catch this individual. Like it really does bother her, and I
Damn.
give her kudos. She's getting close. She'll find out. Uh, with regards to my pet peeve, we really have a pretty well behaved alliance. I mean, the only that a couple of people do after 3 years of playing is they ask, "What time is GC rounds again?" Like it hasn't changed. That's about it.
When is Zombie Uprising? When are we doing Doom Arena? It's the same day, same time, every time, for every week. Why you keep asking?
Shows up an hour later. Did I miss Doom? What the? Yeah.
Oh god. I remember KB was saying that you have guys that speed and you have to make a slow lane.
Yes. We, we have a slow lane in Doom Arena to let the peasants like have a little bit of fun because people zoom around the fucking map.
Hey, us peasants deserve to have fun, okay?
Yep. And I have kicked somebody for speeding in the slow lane, which is really fucking sad, but I had to make an example.
Maddie the police officer.
I had to make an example so people understand I was serious.
And then
You
say
can't
he's
make
not a tyrant.
no, you can't make idle threats. You make idle threats, they think they can get away with anything.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kitschy? What's your pet peeve?
Um, uh, Treating the alliance like it's an Airbnb.
What does that even mean?
Like they hop?
So no. So some people when it still goes with the everything's personal. Some people when they get angry they leave the alliance, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
when they calm down they come back. So and they do it like every time they get angry or they get irritated about something that's changed. They leave, and then after a while they come back, and then they leave, and then they come back, and then they leave. So it's like an Airbnb.
Why do you let them back?
I'm R4, hun. So
Yeah, but if they leave, they're technically without an alliance and they're free to
well,
burn, right?
technically they're useful. So that's why they're in and out. But I guess to me it's more just like if you're angry, I don't know, just don't go in game. Leave your base in there. Just don't go in game.
Those people don't realize if you keep leaving, you can't join the Elite War. What if the Alliance is an important Elite War and they need you? Well, can't join. You got the 7-day break.
Cool down, yeah.
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 Hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think they think of things like that. It's just that they let their emotions overrule everything. Yeah. So I'm angry, so I'll quit. I'll come
Yeah,
back
because
like after
feelings
a day or
matter.
two. Eh, yeah. Like okay, feelings matter on the on the day that you got hurt. Well then, like I said, don't go in game. Leave your base there, do something else in real life, and then when you're calmed down, come back and then reassess. Don't be a ping pong ball going in and out. It's just irritating.
Now
Yeah, I
you hear
wouldn't
that?
have
Don't
that
be
too.
a ping pong ball. Yeah. I have experienced a lot of those that a situation happens, they get angry, their emotions just are everywhere, and when you try to calm the situation, nothing you say will make it better for them, or they will not accept your answer because they
Hmm.
want it to be their way. And they will leave. Okay, they left the alliance and go somewhere else. All right, that's your problem. You can go. But if you're in a civil war setting, like your world has a civil war, are you gonna really take the risk to leave the alliance and go somewhere else when we're having civil war? You know what I mean? Because I had that happen many times, and I seen most of them do get burned by the enemy because they got mad, they left, and they wanted to do, to be on their own. But they're also well known of not putting their shield up or hiding, so you can see what would happen next. So
I
I don't
think
feel bad for those people that leave. I just don't.
I think the people that leave, if they're R1, 2, R3, it's not as bad. But if it's people that are in R4, 5 positions that do that, it you have to you have to factor in that if you do leave and you are a leader in that alliance, that everyone else will panic and wonder why you left. So it's up to the leadership that's left in that alliance to pick up the pieces and try and pacify everyone. So, just because you've followed your emotions and overridden everything, now everyone else has to pick up the crap. You know,
Right.
just just be considerate. If you can't handle your emotions, don't go in game. Leave your phone. Easy.
All right. Boogie, you're there now or no? All right, Boogie's still not there. Okay. Let's see. Rise Great. Rai Rai is the Great or Rai is Great has a question. What to do when R5 is an idiot?
I already
Jay,
answered him
where did you answer him at?
in the chat. Burn him.
That's a very subjective question. I'm sure people think I'm an idiot, right? Like,
Okay. So Jay
Okay,
says to burn the person.
Okay, if he is an idiot and the majority agree that he is idiot, ask him to step down. It's not hard. He don't want to step down. Okay, leave the alliance and
But what
establish
if
your own one
but what if
and
the
take all the
alliance
players out.
has sorry, but what if the alliance has the highest tech and that leaving is not really a great option?
So
Yeah.
the idiot R5 will obey the majority calls. If he's not, okay, kill him. It's easy. He don't want to follow the majority. Okay, burn him. Why waste time with him?
What about you,
And
Maddie? Oh,
I did
sorry.
this one really in my old nation 74. The
Gotcha.
R5 don't want to go step down. 1, 2, 3. He don't want. Okay, we all left around maybe 40, 15 players. We killed him and back to the alliance, and he gave the R5. That's you how should do.
Hmm. What about you,
So
Maddie?
it just depends, right? So if you're talking about the leader of like the number one alliance, then that's your own fault for putting that person into power, and there's not a whole lot you can do. If it's some of the smaller alliances, I mean, you simply basically turn the entire nation against them and say, hey, if this person doesn't step down, well, these are the consequences.
I mean,
And I've
yeah.
done that.
I mean, that will probably be the only way to take out somebody who is acting such a way, get everybody to
Yeah.
turn against them, burn them, or make them to step down. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no
I mean, if you
you
have
can't
an
argue with an idiot. You will never win. There's a saying, you will never win an argument with an idiot. There's always that
well,
saying.
and the thing about it is they may not care about their city, but they do care about their friendships and stuff. And I know Lumberg likes to be nice, but if you threaten their friends and threaten other people that are in that alliance as long as their leader, that has a little bit more weight than just killing their city.
You got anything to say about that, Lumberg?
I kill people. I mean, I'm not a pacifist, but you know, you should try diplomacy first. I mean, invariably, you might have to you might resort to threat and burning, but it is possible to reach people. Sometimes it's mistranslation. Some people do have a false sense of importance when they get into a leadership position. They don't want to let go, but usually, you can find somebody diplomatic that can reach them or that they're friends with that helps them see reason, or they die.
Yeah, and diplomacy is always the first option, especially in a situation like this. Like that, what I said is like a last resort. I would assume diplomacy has already been tried in that situation.
All right, give me 1 second, please. 1 second, 1 second. Say something.
Kilo.
Test.
All right,
Testing one, two, three.
yeah. Can
Dinah.
everybody hear them? Can you guys hear them? Give me 20 seconds. Can you still hear them? Say yes or no in the chat.
Oh, someone actually mentioned, it was Chicken mentioned in the chat that if you turn your YouTube playback speed to like double speed, it actually quickens the delay from like 20 seconds to 5.
Okay. I'll go to YouTube and do that. But sorry, Lumber, for cutting you off. Or was it Maddie?
Yeah. Max says that they can hear us.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We can check on that on the next podcast. I don't want to mess up too much, you know. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I wanted to switch from desktop to Discord because I feel like in my household we're having too much noise, and I don't want that noise to be broadcasted on the video. So,
No, I was
you
done
guys
talking.
can continue. Okay.
I was just saying diplomacy is always the first option to try. You always try to talk sense into people, but it don't work sometimes.
I see. Yeah, diplomacy first, and then kill them, or kill them now and then diplomacy later. Because there's that. You can diplomacy after you burn them.
It,
or
it goes,
kill their friends.
yeah,
Kill the
it goes
front.
back to
Yeah.
sort of what everyone like. It always goes back to there being consequences for everything, right? Like your first, second chances are negotiations, and then if things still don't work, then those consequences are now going to come to fruition.
I will
Mhm.
mention one thing, that in order for diplomacy to work, there has to be that threat or risk or fear of consequences. So no diplomacy really works unless you have a strong monster player that will set you straight, right? So I do want to caveat that by saying that no, it's not all hugs and kisses. Diplomacy is really effective when you have the threat of the monster in your nation looming, that hey, if you step out of line, you will be put place. What gets really difficult and what could be the death of a nation is, let's say, the person in question that's being irrational or unreasonable, or is just hard-headed and power hugging. If that is the strongest player in the nation, then I think you either have to band together to kill him, or that might just be the death of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's either the death of your nation, or you work with the team you're against to avoid to like zero that dude.
And what if your nation is already dead?
Then why are you still playing?
You wait for a merge.
Yes, that's what happened in 68.
Join
Before
285.
when we merged, I was 74. We all merged with the alliance, had civil war with the Korean alliance. It's last around maybe 8 months. There is no break for us. It's same the living now in 52, but in 68 we have many fighting alliance. Each one want to kill the another one. Most the people who causing this civil war already quit the game. Most of them already burned and zeroed. Just one left with my alliance. He was the R5, the leader. He don't want to stop the civil war. I was talking him nicely. It's over. There is no reason to continue. We play by the rules. He was the strongest in the 68. And our nation was very exhausted. 8 months or maybe more than 8 months. We keep killing each other. But it's fun. I miss those days. Then he said no. I said, okay, you don't want to stop? Okay, I am leaving the alliance. The time I quit the alliance, 50 players joined me. I joined Academy Alliance. It's like a farm. And we became the first alliance. Then he said, okay, I will step down from R5. Okay, now it's working well. I went back and become the R5 in 68. And then we merged maybe 3 months later with 52. And back to the killing again.
Back to exactly what you always wanted.
But it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
All
I,
right,
I
we
want
have
to
a
go back to
question.
something.
Sorry.
I wanted to go back to something that Lumberg said, just because I think a lot of people really don't understand this, that diplomacy really only works when you actually have the ability to with a whale, for example, to enforce. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, especially the ones that don't want to follow the rules, that don't understand and feel that they're entitled to just sort of play however they want in a war game because they don't understand that points matter or things like that. A lot of instances when, say, the top alliances are attempting diplomacy, they already are fully well aware that they have the power to make your life in the game very, very difficult and gameplay very impossible. And they will flex that if they have to. So the diplomacy is their extension of kindness to you for that.
Check, got a question.
So Carlos has a
Stereotype being
question.
nice. Check,
Sorry.
got.
Goat's question is very interesting. I think Maddie should answer it.
Yes, it's good one.
What's the question?
So
What's your
you try to be
stance?
nice. Oh, go ahead, Nikki.
The ghost question is, what's your stance on killing an innocent player who is friend that can't stop the idiot?
And the before part was you've already tried being nice and then it doesn't solve the issue, and so you feel you have to resort to burning their friends.
I mean, what's the question?
What's your stance on having to burn people's friends? Like they're
If
innocent.
if
I
the
mean,
R5 is idiot,
I mean, if they're gonna, do the friends know the person's an idiot? Or are they just sticking by them? I mean, I'm of the mindset that I want to build a good world, and so I kind of had a different expectation of players. Like, I wanted all the good players in my alliance. I wanted all the next good players in the second alliance, and I mean, our world really wanted that. So, I mean, I guess I haven't experienced having to do that. I've burned lots and lots of idiots, though, I can tell you that. Um, Pre-merger, I did burn some idiots and their friends just for association. I mean, I don't really know the question, though.
and also, Goat, there is no innocent in this game. If your friend is idiot and he is the whale in your nation, I can't touch you or I can't hurt you, but I can burn your friends. That will affect him and will make him obey the rules. If he
Yeah.
care about his friends, so what? Kill all his friends.
I think what you need to think about is if a whale or somebody is being an idiot and they always shield, there's no way for you to hurt this person outside of uranium. Their friends are your way to hurt this person. Yes, is killing it is hitting an innocent, but take it as in that's the consequence of being friends with this guy who's being a troublemaker. So that is a way to hurt said idiot.
Or get them to come to your side somehow, and say, look, this guy's by himself. You guys are with this crazy person. We want to have this over here. Like, appeal, because a whale cannot win on their own. Like, I mean, that's obvious in this game, unless you're in a very, very late nation and, you've got a C-38 while everybody else is C-30. That's different. But a whale can't win on their own.
And we saw it many times. One whale start killing others alone, then he die. And we saw it many times in many nations. And we have many example I can share with you. First one, Naruto.
How is Naruto an example?
Well, there was a fight. No, Naruto. Yes, the big boss, right? He's Naruto.
Yes, I think he's back being Naruto
Yes,
from
back. No,
255.
no, no. Yes, no one can touch him. Then they killed his friends. Then he lost his shield one and they burned him. Also, I can remind you 81, Zeus. You remember him? Hello?
And
Who
I
is
can hear.
this?
I don't hear now.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, and something else about whales too. I mean, there's a point to where you cannot burn them. But if they, most people think of a whale like having 150 million BP, blah 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 blah. If you get 100 people in an ideal scenario, you get 100 people, 70 people, something like that, to attack that one whale, you're going to cause him to lose tens of thousands of dollars of troops, whereas you're splitting those losses up across however many players are on that attack. So it hurts them way more than it actually hurts you, even though you lose more overall.
Yeah, but it's kind of sucks for those people who are friends with them and then they're the ones who are getting hit. It's unfortunate, but hey, it's the consequences.
Well, I'm talking about hitting a big whale that just, thinks they're above the law.
That too.
Then
Anyways,
boom, dead.
boom, dead. Let's see.
Like Raziel.
No,
What
this
happened to
is a good one.
Raziel?
I forget a good example.
The farmers revolted against Raz, and like 40 people hit him. And he lost like 2 million troops while he was sleeping. He would have got zeroed, except the alliance shielded.
But they are brave enough to attack.
Yeah, at least they're brave enough to attack. I remember there was this in server 2, there was this civil war going on between two alliances. One alliance is like the second strongest, the other one not the strongest, but they have activity, I guess. And the second strongest alliance, one of their whale C38 players, I don't remember what his BP was, but it was pretty high. Obviously,
Bread
these
guy.
players, yes, I'm talking about bread. I'm sorry, bread. These guys, it was bro against FYC. So FYC had this player named Bread Man. He's a C38, very strong city. Probably he was like a 100 mil, maybe 90 mil BP. Not sure, but it was pretty high. The Bro Alliance saw that he had no shield. So they plan to attack this city. Obviously, they're not strong. Their cities are like mediocre in strength, but they have activity. I remember that they hit Bread Man. They lost three of those battles, but the fourth battle, obviously, they won because by that time, Bread Man has lost all of his troops. So they attacked this guy four times, and
And they lost.
they
They
zero it.
lost two. They lost
They lost
two
troops,
times.
but their main goal was to destroy Breadman troops. They killed all his troops, even though they lost majority of their troops. But
Yes, they
that's their yeah.
to attack. They lost around 10 million troops.
Yes.
But they keep continue.
They
Yeah, but
continue,
that
but Breadman lost everything.
yeah,
Yes, he's dead.
if that's split across 50 players, that's only 500k troops each. That's a lot easier pill to swallow.
Yeah, but they were so bold to just keep hitting him, even though they were losing. Breadman lost either way. He lost his army. He lost everything, even though they lost their troops too. But if you can see, if there's a civil war, your main goal is to take down their cities too, you know? So if it
Yeah.
takes my troops to take down this big whale, I will take the sacrifice and take him down while I die, you know?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
they share the loss. The
yeah,
losses are
Yes.
shared between them.
the way always saw it is, and I'm not a mega whale or anything, but in Void, I was prepared to lose, one fleet, one and a half fleets every Void if I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on to the next question? What was the question that we just asked?
I don't even know.
Did we did we do the what's the one thing you end up repeating the most?
And what do you mean by this question?
So we haven't done that yet. Like the one thing that you end up repeating the most as a leader.
No. What's the one thing? Okay. You mean the events or something?
No, just generally, like, and I know what mine is. I'll tell you what mine is. The one thing I end up repeating the most in a leadership position in any alliance, whether it's I was an R4 before I came to 567 also, is read your emails. That's the one thing I repeat all the time.
But no one read.
Maddie, what was yours?
I don't even know. I repeat myself way too much. I mean, it's really not my alliance, but more so my nation. And it's just having to send, it's not people asking questions, but having to remind the nation that they need to shield and not to reinforce during frenzy.
Is everybody Discord dying? Because we just lost Jay and Kitchi.
Maybe. Oh, Jay's
And Jay's
back.
back. Um,
Bad connection.
bad
Yeah,
connection.
I repeat too much like that. I don't even know. Honestly.
The next question will be good. I think for people who are listening who are in a leadership position in their alliance, give a tip to people who are in a leadership position in their alliance.
Let's start with Lumberg since we haven't heard from him.
Okay, this one's easy. I think, the best tip will be you cannot please everyone and don't try to, right? So
Amen.
that's and I think the second thing will be, a lot of the things that if you're a leader at work, at home, or something that you do in real life, those same skills and same tips do apply. And in some ways, I think even if you're not a leader, let's say in your job, because you're not at that level yet, being a leader in game actually helps you teach some of those skill sets of bringing people together, motivating different people. So take it with a grain of salt. Try to use it as a learning experience, and stop trying to make everybody happy.
What about you, Jay? What's the tip you can give to an R5?
The R5 and R4, it's very simple answer. The leadership, it's not just a decoration or just showing off. Okay, I am R5, I am R4, listen to me. It's not how it's work. The leadership team came with responsibility. The people looking up to you to do the right choice or make the right decision. So many who want to be R5, I'm not talking about all the players, there are some few maybe, just want R5 or R5 just for decoration, just for showing off. But in the work, they do nothing. So your position is came with responsibility and make your team proud of you and your decision. And thank you.
So
Maddie?
polite.
Mine is hold everyone accountable whenever possible. If somebody screws up, make them share the battle report. Make them say why it was bad. Like, and even if you screw up as an R5, everybody screws up. Share it. Say I screwed up. I did this. Like, don't make excuses. Just everybody learns from everybody else's mistakes. And as long as people see that even yourself is not above the law and can make mistakes, it goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I think a tip I can give as an R4 is don't take people seriously. um and then to be helpful to your R5, because the best thing you can do for them is take half of the load. Like you can answer people, but you always have to go through your R5. But if your R5 tells you, hey, you decide what to do, then yeah, you can do you know, do what you think will be best for the alliance. But sometimes we have people that they become R4 and they want to do R5 things without consulting with anybody. Like they don't like this player, I'm gonna kick this player because I'm R4 and I make the decisions. Because I have seen that happen. It has happened before. So it's always communicate with your fellow R4s, communicate with your R5. Don't make decisions by yourself unless your R5 tells you, hey, do what you think is best. That would be my tip.
Well, any major decision should be made as a group. Sometimes you have to make spur of the moment decisions, but any major decision should definitely have like an officer chat, whether it be in Discord or in game, because everybody's got a different perspective, and sometimes a fresh perspective is what anybody needs in leadership.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's
My tip is
hmm
always put your phone on do not disturb before you go to sleep. That's
Oh,
my
that's so
one,
true.
because you're a lot of the times people don't realize that they lose track of what time it is, right? Like they don't realize that leaders also need time to rest. They also need time to recover. And I know some people, myself included, have a really bad habit of not being able to look at a notification and go, I do not have to respond right away. So my tip
So
is always put your phone on do not disturb before you go to bed. Because you really
Uh,
don't need to respond to it right away. But if you can force yourself not to, that's the best thing that you can do.
And what
thank you,
if you're
Elmi, for the ten
bung
dollar
down?
tip.
Yay, Elmi.
I'm gonna get myself some iced coffee with it. Thank you very much. Much needed with 3 shot of espresso.
Thank you. Where's mine?
You gotta send another extra 10 for Jay. We'll get him 5 shots of espresso to keep him awake.
The next question will be for everybody who's listening. Give one tip to all players everywhere.
Quit.
That's okay. That's not an option, but you know,
But why?
because this is Nikki's podcast about the game.
I mean, I feel like it's relevant.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Don't quit. Give all your money to Camel.
Okay, Carlos has got a question about the R3. Are we talking about R3?
I mean,
Sure. I mean,
R3 is a rank.
we're talking about sort of leadership generally, and he wants to know how do you delegate responsibilities to R3s so R4s and R5s don't have to beat a dead horse.
I think R3 job is an easy one. You can when you're in R3, you can accept people into the alliance or send invites. And I guess there could be like the third persons in R1 who doesn't know much what to do. If R5 or R4 are busy, they can go to the R3, be like, hey, what time is this? Maybe R3 can answer that if everybody else is busy, you know?
No, I my my thing is keep your circle small, keep your decision makers because like don't have too many of them because too many cooks in the kitchen can lead to a bad meal. So, with the R4s and R5, that's 11 people right there. That's all you need to really lead your team. Sure, R3s can do this, that, and the other, but you have to keep that core circle small because if you open it up to R3s, then you've got to do it all R3s, and that ends up being 31 people, which is 33% of your alliance making decisions, which is just too many.
Yeah, don't give R3s decision making. It's just more like they can like say, oh, this was what said, you know? Like they can say what was read in the mail, but nothing to make decisions. I mean, like Maddie said, keep it small, keep your circle small. Decision making should be made by leadership. There's R5 and R4. I can hear the siren, mute
Sorry.
yourself. Um,
Yours
yeah, because
robbing a
it,
bank right now.
yeah, yours robbing the bank. She's gonna get us iced coffee. That's why.
The worst
Um,
part is like so immune to that sound.
like I was saying, the less if the circle is small, the decision making is faster because when the circle is too big, there's too many people voicing or saying, "Hey, we should do this or that." It's just too many opinions. It takes too much time. If it's small, it's just 1, 2, 3, go, done. There's the decision made. That's what I think. That's why when it's small, it's better than making big groups to make
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah, and your R4s and R5s are generally the ones that are in the game the most anyway. So any decision can be talked through very quickly. You open that up to an additional 20 people, well, you got to deal with even more
20
time zones.
opinions. Hmm
Yeah.
That's also another thing. Whoever is R4 or R5 has to be the most active person in the alliance. Someone who's like in every event, someone who's in like in every, like if you're having a mail to everybody, someone that responds or gives gives feedback, gives opinions, vocal. So a vocal person is nice too. Or sometimes those who are not vocal, but they contribute in and let's say you're purging, they purge all the time. They are there for a light work. They're also those people can also be good R4s. Doesn't mean that they don't like someone who's not vocal. It's okay for not to be vocal in the game, but they can be very vocal as an R4 in the other chatting application like Discord. Like there's so
Well,
many tributes for somebody to be an R4.
well, that goes back to leading by example. I mean, you don't have to be the most active, but if you're going to tell people they need to be active, you need to be active. You know,
Exactly.
at least be there for the key events and stuff like that. Like, I don't think I've missed a single event except for like maybe 2 frenzies.
I I skip Frenzy completely. Actually, Chaos Land. I skipped Chaos Land completely. I don't play that.
Well, nobody does. I mean, you go in there and get your boxes and get out. Like, nobody really tries.
Yeah, it is the most fun because the free tickets. Anyways, um, but yeah, leading by example. So if you're an R4 and you're telling people, "Hey, do this and that," but you're not doing it, how can you expect them to do it?
I agree with the R3 R4 distinction and too many cooks in the kitchen comments. I just wanted to share that we did do it both ways where we lit where we so your decision making room included R3s and did experience that look it's not robust enough, it's not quick enough, things get lost in you know people go off on tangents. There's just a lot more opportunities for tangents when you have 30 people in the room versus 10. um, R3 is a good way to kind of recognize the people that are doing a lot of the things or that are R4 ready or almost ready, or when R4s want to take a break, they go into R3. So we've used kind of those buckets. So it's recognition of kind of like your heavy donation people, your contributors, your heavy fighters, so R3 is good for those reasons. But I think I agree with pretty much what you've said, that your decision making, 11 people is more than enough and you keep it tight. But I think R3 does serve a function. It is not leadership, but recognition and kind of leadership in waiting. And Nikki, with regards to Chaos Land, you absolutely need to play that because that's your best source of merit. So it's free tickets. There's no excuse. I know that timings are atrocious, but make some time.
Now we'll move on to the more fun part of our podcast. We're going to discuss and we're going to try and keep this light, the various types of AOO players that we experience. And this doesn't necessarily come from like a leadership perspective. I think the community generally, when we start talking about these stereotypes of players, we'll all know someone who fits that mold. And the first one is the drive-by. Nikki, you want to start?
Before you guys say anything, thank you, Bonbon, for the $10 tip.
Thanks, Bonbon.
Thanks, Bonbon. All right, so the drive-by. Drive-by. What does drive-by mean? So it's like a 52 term because I'm not sure if you guys have experienced this, that a drive-by would be you have a player. Let's say this person retired from the game and there's a new owner in the city. Let's say this new owner left for a bit and the old person came back to their city. They come back and they're looking around, they find this fat city and they go in SOS. They go SOS the city, they killed all the troops, and then they say, "Okay, I'm done. Bye." They leave, and then the new owner of the city comes back and it's like, "What just happened? Why am I missing troops?" So technically that would be a drive-by. The person comes in, does something, leaves. And if everything say anything, no, this person is a friend of ours. He comes in, comes out, does drive-bys. That's what the term is.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eramus. Remember when Eramus came on and then did an SOS on I think it was like a AOD city, or was it an SS1 city? And then he just left.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
have that issue in our nation. I
It's
mean,
not an
if
issue.
people,
It's more like a fun term.
I mean, whenever people come back, they straight up steal the city back. That's what
I mean
happens in ours.
that's an issue.
Yeah, so I mean, we need a category called the thief.
Do we have that category? Hmm. All right, tell us about the thief.
The
Do you have
thief
any?
comes back and steals the city that they stole or sold the player or gave a city to. They decide they want to come back and play the game. They just take the city back out of nowhere.
Did you kill the city completely after that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like the
Mm,
worst case scenario to have.
well, it's even worse when they're in R5 of one of your top alliances.
Mm.
That happened recently in 524.
Oh no. So
It
that
is
thief is
handled.
completely gone. Oh, it's handled. Okay, good for you.
He's dead though.
Unfortunately. All right, what about the shield allergy? Do you guys know what the shield allergy is?
The
I think
shield allergy.
I
I
mean,
think
that's
everybody knows.
self-explanatory,
Yeah.
and every nation's got like 50 of them.
Well, it's more for if you're in a civil war and then everybody in your alliance knows they are in a civil war and you've been in a civil war for almost a year or two, and then everybody's shields drop. And then you have to message this person 20 times, be like, hey, bubble, because, you're in civil war. This person's going to get hit and they're going to lose all their troops. And it's like a constant thing that happens every time. It's like every day the shield drops and you have to call them, let them know, like, hey, bubble up. At some point you get tired. It's like you're a babysitter to these people.
But they're also probably tired of shielding, so they're just like, fuck it, I wish somebody would zero me.
We
Now you're
actually did
motivating me not to contact these people. I'm just gonna let
we
them
actually
die.
did have that happen in 567.
Do
And
tell.
it I remember it caused a lot of controversy within the alliance. I'm not going to say when it was or what it was, but there was an instance where someone wasn't shielded during this was a void, and there were multiple hits on the city, and the city got zeroed. And there was a lot of back and forth over, there was not enough defenses. We didn't do a good enough job of defending our alliance member, and a lot of tension came from that. Only for us to find out later that the player in question actually wanted to get zeroed because they wanted to quit the game. So they purposefully had let their shield drop. Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. You're like, man, let me see what happens if I get zeroed. I know my decision.
Why don't you just delete your troops and delete the app?
Yeah,
Because there's still like a part of you that may want to come back and play. It's like taking a risk. I don't know.
What
it's
about
an
everybody else
addiction.
that has to like try and defend you that they have no idea that you're like whatever?
Well, if you want to score points, the people defending you, if it's during void, they're not going to lose anything.
Yeah,
So,
but
You're
if
gonna
it's a
give up
bad
points for it.
defense, you give the other nation the most points if the defense goes bad.
I mean, that's true.
All right, let's go for another one. Okay, this is one that everybody knows. I can't read. For anybody who's been an R4 and R5,
I don't think it's
the
I can't read. It's I don't read.
okay, fine. I don't read. Because okay, I feel like they can't because the message is clear, is there. Why don't you read it? So this is for everybody who's been in R4 and R5 for the longest time. You know those messages you send to the alliance. Let's say you did a deal of uranium, like a uranium deal, and you tell them, "Hey, we made a truce. Don't hit this alliance." And then you have four people hitting that alliance when you said don't do it. and they tell you, "Oh, I didn't see the message. I didn't read it. Oopsie," It's like every time we make a truce with somebody, it always happens.
Yep. And then the next thing you know, you're in a uranium mine war, and people are posting private messages of your conversation on social media, and it just spirals out of control.
Well, that's a
One
you
time,
problem because that did not happen to us.
dude, that's exactly what happened. We had one person accidentally hit somebody in a uranium mine, and it escalated to the point of ridiculousness, and it's comical as hell now.
I don't understand what's up with the 500 nations pushing or publicly, posting private messages or private things about people in Facebook. I don't get that.
I
I
It's like
I
feel
this
like
don't.
never
it's a
happens
generational
in
thing.
it's a generation thing. It has to be.
Well, you know how there's like the generations of people you've got like your boomers, your Gen X, blah 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 blah. Like there is that type of generation gap in AOL players too. I swear there is. Like every globe has its own like cultural thing because they've all played together for so long. You know what I mean? I like to think of it that way too.
Jenkins says, no, the excuse is I just go into game and select all messages, then click read all. LOL. It's so true.
I
Or they
appreciate
can
the
just,
honesty, I suppose.
I
yeah,
mean,
but
that's what
you
I
can
do.
click and delete all as well. They just delete everything. But those are the worst. Those people that don't read every time you send a message and just makes things worse for you. Especially those like you decided to like end the civil war. Like when I used to be, I don't know, in server 81, I'm at like every server I've been to, there's always a not okay. Jenkins said it's not him, it's just like an excuse that he has
Mm.
heard. Um
Don't lie. I remember your history in 81.
all I'm saying is every server I've been into, I'm always in a civil war. Anyways, I remember, I'm not sure which civil war was, but we made truth with the alliance. We said, hey, we're gonna be in peace. We're not gonna attack each other anymore. Like, don't hit them. And then you have that one person who just logged in, did not read anything, see somebody on shield, and they go and hit them. What just happens? Oh, we're back to civil war. Oh well, all that talking and discussing with each other went all down the drain because somebody did not read or did not pay attention. So yeah, that happened.
Oops.
It gets tiring. It gets super tiring. Like if you're like working to make ends meet with having peace, make the nation thrive, and then you got the one individual or a group of individuals who just don't care, they just don't want to follow. It's like, what do you do? What should I
You
do? Like, do I kick these people? Do I burn these people? Do I just whatever? We're just gonna keep, you know, keeping it up
you
the way
already
it is.
you already give the answer. Kick the people and burn them. Simple.
Well, we know the answer is always kill them and burn them, but if you're in a nation that diplomacy means everything to you, how can you be diplomatic to this person? And so if you know
Uh,
Lumberg over there, we know he's the nice guy, he's pacifist. What do you say?
okay. I have same situation back in 68. There is the alliance. They have, Act Alliance. Now we have in 52. Nikki?
Which alliance? Sorry,
Act.
Act.
Act. It's in 52 now.
The only
There
alliances
are
I have in my head in 52 are ED1, Hob, Zoo,
no. There
and
is dead.
S1.
There is dead now. Most of them joined SS1. Before in
Okay.
68, there were the third alliance in battle power. There was very fat. Anyone did mistake, they don't want to kick because it's a friend.
Thank you, Anon, for the $10.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so so an alliance in 68 named Act.
Yes.
It's
So
what did they do?
the leadership don't want to kick the friends if they're donating points, frenzy, or void, or hitting in urinum. They don't want to kick. Also, they don't want to burn the guy. So I give one solution: full war, or someone take the responsibility. So each time anyone did mistake, I burn the R5. He lost sometime 500k, sometime 1 million. He is fat. He don't care how many time I hit him. But I was enjoying this, someone taking the responsibility. If anyone from his alliance did something wrong. And now he is full zero in 52.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just wants to play the game and don't want to take responsibilities or take consequences. But guys, you need to understand, if you want a nation to thrive, if you want things to work out and do better in events, there has to be consequences and there has to be rules and there has to be responsibilities. Because that's like the sugar, spice, and everything nice to make a nation work. And you get a powerful nation. And what is chemical X? Whales. Whales are your chemical X, the
It's
spenders.
true.
Uh, yeah, where's Lumberg? Lumberg, you still there? No, he's probably still delivering packages. All right. Let's see. I think we have one more thing, right? Oh, the I want to be president. Maddie, have you ever had a person who always wants to be president?
This was Maddie's thing.
Okay, so if somebody wants to be a president, then they have no business being a president because nobody really wants to be the president. Like, it's a pain in the ass to juggle if you're doing things right during events to move people around. But if you have to ask, then you don't deserve it.
And we lost Jessica. I
Gotcha.
mean, there's also there's also this thing about being president. Some people think just because they have super strong city or like they're the most spender, they deserve to be president. I mean,
So,
if you can do the like Maddie said, if you can do the thing where you rotate around the roles during events, if you do that really well and you have the time to do that, then yeah, sure, you can be president and you can get the buff. But if you're someone that just wants to have the buff, just to have to, you can have a powerful fleet in uranium or whatever, do your thing just for you only, then no, you don't deserve to be president. Being president is a team effort type of job because you need to like rotate the roles around. You have people asking you, hey, can I have Marshall so I can do better in Medici? Or hey, can I have Marshall so my DoD fleet can be like as strong as it can be? There's a lot of things you gotta do as a president. Mostly just rotating stuff around and giving people what they're asking.
yeah, I mean, anytime people hit a new city level, you've got to rotate Marshall and the other thing, and which is, the reason why I'm still in this game because my dumb ass set myself as president after Global.
Dummy.
Yes, big
I,
dum dum.
I
I
Big
did
dum
not
dum.
expect Duel to be this soon.
give me president or I will quit.
Probably because Camel heard that you were retiring and they're like, nope, give him president, bring DOD in.
Well, I've got that fancy city skin too.
Woohoo. There's also that one person, like, how do I explain it? There's like no communication, they tell you nothing, and then they get an angry message from them being like, I have been seeing the same players being presidents. Why did you not give me president? Have you asked? Did you ever
So,
ask us for presidency?
so
Like,
something that we do in 524 is usually every other presidency is kind of irrelevant depending on the event cycle. So we just send out a full alliance vote and let people vote for whoever they want. It just so happens it's usually the same people.
mm, yeah. Anyways, being president sucks. Don't be if you can't be responsible.
I think
All
that's
right.
a lot of people don't get that too. It is a very difficult job, and everybody wants to be president because they want the skin. Only to realize that if you're not active enough as a president, you're gonna get so much hate mail for the fact that you didn't assign positions as people needed them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, don't ask to be president. It sucks. All
It's
right.
just
So
showing off.
the showings of what?
I am president. Just like to be
Yes,
president.
Jay is president. Vote for Jay. 2020 14. I mean, sorry, 2020 24. Oh my God, where am I? All right, okay, what about the person who missing Frontline? One person that, or not the one person, but the group of people that don't send the amount of Frontline you tell them to send. Go,
Maybe
Jay.
if he don't
Say
have
it.
enough, sometimes you can give them excuses, and sometimes they don't have enough. Maybe as example, I remember myself. Our standard was 10K when the T11 tanks. Our standards always 10K, but I don't have even 5K. So how you want me to send what I don't have? Or sometime I am saving. I can't send what I have. It's first time here in 52 I have a front line. Back I don't have anything. I would be happy if I have almost 10K or 50K. So sometimes you can excuse the players if they don't have enough.
All right, but let's say there's no excuse. You've been telling everybody, guys, we need this many Frontline. Frontline is very important. We need this many. Please have this much. You know, this player has a lot of troops. Like, I'm not saying people that are like one fleet players, because there's those, the one fleet wanderers. That's okay. We get it. You like to be able to be empty and you play with one fleet or two. That's understandable. That's okay. But if you're someone that has a lot of troops, you can send 5 fleets and whatever. Why
Okay.
do you?
Then
Hi,
you
Oxy.
can,
I'm just
yeah,
saying,
see,
why do you
then
not send enough frontline if you have so many troops? Why are you just focusing on getting snipers or
then you go to plan
rockets?
B.
What is Plan BJ?
Plan B, plan B first you he will have first warning. He didn't follow second warning. He ignored then. I don't think there is third warning, right?
That's too many. That's 3 strikes. You're out.
Okay, he's out. And out for real, not just from the alliance.
Are you gonna burn them?
I
Yes, why not?
So as everybody can
so
see, all Jay's advices is burn them, kill them, no mercy. That's Mr. J for
No,
you.
no,
That's
yes,
ED1
but
R5.
first you have to give him his excuse if he don't have. But as you're saying, if he has really a lot of troops, then you want. One moment, I have helicopter on my head.
it really just depends on the context here, right? If it's a big group attack, then yes, you got to have everybody on the same page, and that's inexcusable. But if it's random attacks here and there during frenzy or global or whatever, people may not have frontline.
Jay, you can
What?
mute yourself. So yeah, the context is that group attacks, because in group attacks, frontline is very important.
Yeah, no, if it's in void, and the thing about it is this is harder to do in the later nations, especially when you have a whale, because the whale's tiered troops are going to die after the lower level tier troops, right? Because it always kills the lowest tier first. And so you have your weaker players constantly getting more losses just because they're shielding the whale, whenever it really should be the other way around on the front line. So it's hard for some of the smaller players to maintain a lot of frontline troops for that reason. So for me, this is a gray area. I mean, yeah, you want people to send frontline, absolutely, but sometimes it's difficult.
I mean, yeah, it can be difficult because front lines are the hardest to recruit since they take a while to have them in numbers. So from what I remember, the biggest advice I always been getting when I was starting playing this game is skip an event, skip a void. If you can skip a
Oh,
void, you can recruit more frontline. Because if you keep
Yeah, I
playing
mean,
every void, you can't recruit enough frontline unless you speed up and spend to speed up those recruitments.
yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
most players when they get to 5 fleets, they should only be recruiting frontline for the most part because those are the ones that you're going to lose the most of. And that's something that's hard for some people to grasp because they think, well, I want more back row. No, you want more front lines because those are the ones dying. So all my recruiting speed ups go to shredders.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Oxy, we're talking about different types of players that, as in R5 and R4, we have dealt with. We have gone through the drive-by, the I can't read, which should be said as I don't read, the frontline, no frontline person, and what else did we talked about? I'm going
Allergic
back
to
to
shield.
the shield allergy. Do you have one in mind?
Um, well, let's take a look.
Oh yeah, we spoke about the I want president, promote me,
The people that want to be promoted are the people that should not be promoted. Like
and the
Exactly.
people who want to be president should not be the people that should not be president.
exactly. It's like if you have to ask, I mean, there's some exceptions to that rule, right? I mean, there's some people that bust their ass, and there's only so many R4 spots, blah 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 blah. But if you have to ask, I mean, you better have a compelling fucking essay as to why you want this, not just say, "Hey, give me R4."
Okay, Maddie, here's my resume. I can show you from experience of years of experience of a great of R4 I am. My only weakness is I cuss people out sometimes because
And
they're
I'm
so
okay with that.
stupid.
Just
Everybody,
strength.
every alliance needs a cusser outer person. So
Oh no,
they
mine
also
are
need
bad. Mine are so
they also
bad.
need an asshole that will boot people. If you can make the person that actually boots people not the R5, that makes the R5's life so much better. Like you need an enforcer.
Yeah, that's why I have Oxy. Oxy is the best enforcer.
Yeah, I just don't care.
Or Jay, but besides Mr. J, he's our R5 and easy one. He'll just simply click the person and burn them. Right, Jay?
I have a few more
It's,
categories of people.
it's depends on what he did.
Yeah, depends what they did. We have to be
Yes,
diplomatic and
yes,
logical and nice.
I agree. That's why I burn, then I ask.
Yeah, I burn and then I wait for them to ask. I don't even tell them.
Yes.
Like I make them ask me.
Yeah, don't give
Wow.
them a reason, a heads up, so they can shield.
Yeah,
If plain up to burn them, just kick them down.
if they have
Yeah.
to ask, then there's a problem there because they don't know what they did. And if they don't know what they did, then they don't know the fucking rules.
You know,
But they
that's
know
a lot of people
and
will
they
say we
will
don't
ask.
have honor. Yeah, we lack honor. Yeah.
No,
We burn
you
first,
lack,
ask questions later.
and that's it's
Yes.
got to be that way. It's like, hey, do you mind if I burn you? You broke this rule. Sure, buddy.
Like, hey
Sure,
This
come
is
on
the
buddy,
over.
way.
let me get in there. I'm gonna, burn you for a bit.
This is the way.
This is the way. Do you know the way?
You need to see Mandorian to know. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are bloodthirsty.
All right, I've thought of 3 more categories of people off the top of my head, and some of them might not apply. One of them is the people that question every single fucking rule. And like they give you these long things about why this rule is bad, not realizing that we've heard that same excuse 100 fucking times. Like we know the pros and the cons. We did not implement this without thinking of all the options. That drives me nuts. And it's usually like the little C24s or C26s in our nation that have been burned for so long but still just log in to make our lives hell. And then to compound on that, then you've got the assholes that are the rule loophole finders, right? These people are like the lawyers of AOZ. They're going to dissect every little nugget of your rule and find some little loophole that they can burn somebody for the reason that they want. And that drives me nuts too.
And why is serious? It's just a game.
Yep. Yeah, those guys are good too.
Just want
The
me
ones
to
who
burn
write
them
the
more.
essays. Yeah, exactly. The ones that write the essays are always crack me up because, you can write whatever you want. You could undeniably prove that my argument is false, but at the end of the day, you aren't making the rules. And it's not your place, right? Write whatever you want. We don't care. You know what I mean? Like we've been over this with other people. The decision's been made. At some point, people need to recognize and stay in their lanes. This isn't up for debate. We're announcing. We didn't ask for feedback.
But let us grow.
Hey,
That's
we
all we
didn't have
want.
time to grow. Give us time to grow.
In
How
year
to play
4.
the game. Why don't you take time from yourself and give us time to teach us how to play the game? When I've been playing for 3 years, I
Your
still don't
life
know how
is
to play
just a
the
game.
game.
We have a life.
Send me 3 months of purchase receipts so that I know it's worth my time.
You know, in our nation chat in 52, there's always that argument of, oh, they're killing all of us. They're killing their world. Why don't you give the player a chance? Why don't you teach the player? I mean, dude, you're still a C31. Why would I waste my time and teach you when you've been playing for 3 or 4 years? You should know by now how to play the game.
Yeah, you can get to C34 with minimal spending in about a year and 2 months. Like that is very achievable with minimal spending.
I got to C12 and 273 to message some people yesterday in 45 minutes, so there is no excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, did you buy the packs to get to C12?
I bought the weekly gold pack.
I mean, yeah, that's the fastest way to push.
Yeah, it's like $7 though. I mean,
Yeah, $7.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
sacrifice $7.
If you can't afford $7 on game packs, then I can't afford to spend $7 of my
Well,
time
sorry,
having this
Oxy.
conversation with you. You know?
I'm a peasant, sir. I'm a peasant. I don't. All right, so we have a question from chat. Hypothetically, if you have all cabinet positions filled and one of the he deleted it.
Yeah,
Wait.
I don't
President
think we should talk about that because it's
Oh,
not
my
secret.
bad, my bad. Okay, sorry. Game over, Nikki. I like your voice. Thank you. My voice is okay. All
We don't
right.
give out secrets on Nikki's podcasts.
And no one like mine.
have we had no marriage proposals?
Merge announcements?
No marriage proposals. Sorry.
No, none today.
No, none. Because yours said, "Oh, you had to pay $100 to say it." Well, you should have dropped it
I
to
didn't say that
20.
today.
No, $100 to get it announced to you live during the
No,
podcast.
No, they
Very
can
different.
pay. They can literally pay $5, and it will pop in the screen and will read by itself. You can just pay $5. That's all you need.
Look at you undervaluing yourself and the entire
No.
revenue optimization project.
I mean,
Well,
let's make it $20. A special for the day. You get to propose to Nikki for $20. I want to see how many proposals we can get in 5 minutes.
Let's do it.
no, we're getting none. Anyways.
That sounds like a you problem.
Well,
Does.
sorry, Maddie, for hurting your feelings. My personality is taken. She's not available.
Aw.
Anyways. Oh, the otters. Okay, so any other question from chat? Sorry, Nikki, I'm proposing to Maddie instead. Come, mama. Dare you?
50
That
bucks.
hurt. $50. Well,
No,
Maddie, you're
50
getting a
bucks. 50
proposal.
bucks.
They're proposing you, Maddie.
Wait, what?
KB is proposing,
Oh,
so you don't leave.
I thought KB was gonna be here.
I thought so too. Where you at, KB? She's probably walking the dogs. I can see it
Working
now.
because it's the middle of the day on Friday.
Yeah, it is an odd time in the U.S.
No, I mean we did it at 3 o'clock last time. Unless it's not working for everybody, then I can just change the time to something different,
3 o'clock Eastern,
Sorry,
which is
3 o'clock Easter
noon on the
time.
West Coast. Yeah, well, it's a big country.
Yeah, but
You're-
most everybody's at work, so you may have more people tuning in because they can listen at work, but it's hard for people to participate, if you will.
that is true. Maybe we should switch it to Sundays. But then again, we have events on Sundays,
You do it Sunday evening.
We'll think about it. Maybe next podcast in another week. JB says $50. Me love you long time, Maddie.
Oh my lord.
She's on a conference call. Well, hi, KV. Thank you for tuning in, even though you're on a conference call. Let's see. Any other question from chat? Like anything about R5? Or you're in R5, we're in a difficult position, don't know what to do. We can go ahead and ask a question. We can give you the best advice we can give you. Except Mr. J. All he's gonna say, burn them, kill them, no mercy.
I mean, it's solid advice though.
Yeah, I
It
feel
is
like
solid
This is the
advice,
way.
but
The
This is
more
the
you
way.
let it creep in and show empathy and let people off the hook, the more people take the piss. It's
Well,
just the
I know.
reality of it, and that's why we end up with these hardline approaches. Is because as soon as people know that you're not playing, all of a sudden, guess what? It's super compliant. In my old nation, I'd send 15 messages, time to shield, time to shield, time to shield. The minute somebody gets set on fire, guess what? Like 10 shields pop up.
Yeah, and it's going back to what I said at the very beginning is, I mean, I know Lundberg wants peace, but there's only so much peace I can stomach. I mean, I want to be a nice person, but this game is not for nice people. Let's just be clear. I mean, we have our social relationships, but it's a war game, and we want to win. And most of
That's
us would
another
do.
thing a lot of people do not understand. That it's a war game, and people are very competitive. And if you're
Well,
somebody that could threaten the winning for said nation, then you're gonna be the one facing consequences from said players.
and people spend a lot of money to win. It's really expensive to place high in these events, but it's very, very easy to go ahead and throw it for someone who spent a ton of money to get that position.
yeah, it cost us a lot of money to make up for stupidity. And that's why we have such a hard stance policy on a lot of this stuff, because we're blowing money because of your stupidness. And that's a fault of our own, but you know what? We want to win.
I mean, that's why when Maddie said once your nation, like your new nation, and it's only been like 2 boys or 3, and you see this player is not a player to keep worth or does not contribute or it's bleeding too much, that's somebody you need to cut off immediately. Like the sooner you realize that, the better it is, because when it's too late, either they become strong or they become friends with the whale. And you don't want them people being friends with the whale.
And take your emotion out.
It's just a game.
Well,
Your
but
life,
it
The
goes.
game, then just quit.
But
your life is about game.
okay, so our nation is essentially one team, right? I mean, during cross nation events. But let's say you're
Right.
playing Call of Duty and you've got a team of people and somebody's constantly screwing up. What do you do with that player? You get rid of them and you bring in somebody that's good. Well, this game is no different, except for the fact that we have to spend money because that player's shitty. So if they don't cry about it in other games, why do they feel the need to cry about it in this game? I mean, if they get killed in Call of Duty over and over and over again, they're gonna quit playing. Why is it that if they get killed in this game, they still want to come back and just torment people? It's a
This
weird game.
it is a weird game. But we got questions from the chat, so let's go answer some questions. All
Ooh,
right.
I'll read.
Go ahead.
As an R4, R5, what are some signs you've seen of people entering burnout in regard to the game?
Lower attendance and spend. Yeah, I mean, you can tell when somebody who's there all the time is, usually top 10, top 20 in every event, is dropping Z-Coin pack gifts to the Alliance on a regular basis, and now all of a sudden they're just not there. It's pretty obvious. You'll hear lots of stuff like, I'm tired. I hear that from people all the time.
Or somebody who doesn't join the events anymore, like a Light War or
Mm-hmm.
a Speed Hit, like, hey, we need people. They don't come in anymore.
Yep. Or they don't respond when we're trying to get counts in mail before, for like a TA or an Elite War.
Or
The
someone
shield
that's always
drops.
on vacation in a tropical island every weekend with no cell service.
Yep. Family Day increases.
Mm-hmm. Next
I mean,
question.
it's
Oh,
obvious. Like as a leader, you're going to recognize that really quickly. Some things will hit you like a ton of bricks. Like we had one player that just leave because he found out he was having a kid. Well, that's a great reason to quit playing the game because you need money to feed and clothe your child. So
This
you're
is
gonna say something, Lumberg?
Yeah, I wanted to add something that I think we haven't touched on that may lead to players kind of burning out or not being engaged. It really is getting a pulse for your alliance, right? So there's it's difficult because it's like herding cats, right? There's 100 members if you're in a full alliance, but it is really important to set the tone of what is it that we're going to participate at, what are we going to win, right? Because if you try to win everything, that's where players can get fatigued. Or if you enforce that look, it is mandatory attendance at this time, or you have to pick and choose your battles, right? So some successful alliances that have done this, they really kind of set the tone of like, these are the events that are important to us, avoid, and so on. And one thing we really do have to keep in mind, and I am a huge proponent of this since this is a R4, R5, kind of podcast dedication, it really is to kind of, to honor your ward. So if you really think about it, we love playing this game, but it is almost disgustingly, pay to win, right? To levels where it shouldn't be. Like all of us are in this. We've been here in the long run. We've spent more than we wanted to, but this does end up being way too much spent. So anything that we can do to limit the spend, both as to our members by kind of saying let's not focus on DoD, frenzy, things like that, we should take. Also, anything that we can do as leaders of the alliance to keep our word when we get into agreements, well, it's really a lot of fun. I think people in this room have said that they've enjoyed this strategy when you don't buy an ultra shield or an electric prism and you just go with no items and honor that agreement. So that's I'm going to stop preaching, but I think it's really important to where you can kind of nullify spending and still have fun. We still are competitive, but there's always going to be one jackass that says no, I want to win, or somebody that doesn't read the mail. But the leadership kind of can set that tone. So the more we have kind of these agreements, the better I think the game will get. I'm done, I promise.
yeah, and some advice to people, there's some really strong nations out there If you win a couple of duels, you win a couple triangles, what's really the point of winning more? Because you don't get any truly permanent increases except for the minor little things on the badges. It's not a good spend, for the reward. So if you've won a few, just take a back seat, and that's something my nation's doing. We won our last two duels, we won our last two triangles, and we said, you know what, we're tabling that event, and we're just gonna coast our way and see if we can't make it to the finals. If we can find another alliance that'll make an agreement, no gold items, that's all the better. We'll do that because that is fun and it's a lot cheaper.
All right, we're gonna go into our last two questions because time is running out for everybody, especially me. So the next question
This
is,
it's good question. This one, I want to talk about this question.
what is the question? Can you please read it?
I am sure everyone has seen their fellow R4 and R5 just retire or lose motivation because they end up doing the work of 5 people. This is a good question.
All right,
This
Mr. J, tell me
is
about it.
okay. You have 10 deputies with you. You need to distribute the job. So I will talk in AD 152. Each one have something to do. The human being have limit. He can do everything alone. And this is fact. So each one take an event, not all one guy take all the events. You have triangle, you have the DOD, frenzy, void, and many events need someone to lead. So pick from your R4 who like the event. Maybe Nikki like leading triangle as example. Okay, Nikki, you will lead the triangle wall. Oxy, you like void, take the lead the void. I like elite war. Okay, I will lead the elite war. Don't just push your R5 or the guy on all events. He can take all this alone. Or he will end up he take his limit and he is out. And that's it if anyone want to talk about it.
Well,
Yeah, so splitting up commanding, like you have a void commander, you have a frenzy commander, and a light war commander. These duties, you should really split it up with your R4s. Like Jay say, I could be commanding a light war, Oxy could be commanding void, or someone can take up the messages of, hey, can you send an email to everybody saying, hey, we have an light war at set time, or write an email about, hey, we have a truth of uranium, and you write it. Instead of having R5 do all of that, just split it up and work together.
Definitely. I think it also helps to have backups for different stuff, right? Because some of these things happen on weekdays. We've all got jobs. Lots of people have kids, families, right? Um, there's occasionally going to be something going on, right? For example, this morning we were doing DOD. Jay got busy at work and I took over, right? But having somebody as a backup, right, that can help you just when life happens in general in the middle of something is always a good idea as well. I know I also do it with Hallow, right? I try to help them out on capturing stats and attendance stuff as well, because it, again, becomes a big job if not.
Yep. All right, next question. Let's see. What kind of relationship do you have with your bigs? I guess the whales or the spenders. How much do you consult them? I'll throw it to Maddie. Maddie, what's your relationship with your bigs? How much do you consult them?
I mean, I don't want you to define bigs, right? Because I would be considered a big in my nation. But
I
our
guess
biggest is great.
you're a shrimp, remember? Or an
Well,
otter.
I am a shrimp in the grand scheme of things, but I'm a big in the 500s for sure. But how much do we consult? Like we got Great One. He is our super mega whale that's maxed out. Um, you know, we don't really consult with him. he doesn't care about the day-to-day alliance stuff. He just wants to murder the other teams. So the less involved he's better with the day-to-day crap, the better it is for him. He's an R4, but that's just because he needs to be able to set, buffs and triangle and duel when stuff is missing like that, but he doesn't want to be involved. And I'm very thankful for that, because he lets us kind of manage it, and we just kind of tell him, hey, this is what we need for you to do. And it works really well for us.
I guess because I have two of my big players in ED1, Oxy and Mr. J. You guys will be considered like as big players. So how will you answer the question? Well, let's say Oxy.
I think there usually two different sort of profiles for bigs. Like Maddie was saying, right? You've got one who wants to focus on events, killing everything, less wants to be involved with a lot of those different conversations. And then there are ones that, sort of get in and involved in every aspect. I mean, I think it's always good just to keep a pulse, particularly if that person is extremely important to your alliance, right? Making sure that they don't get dissatisfied over something small is always a good idea. But usually when they're engaged like that or big enough, they're usually R4 anyway. But it definitely is a good idea. If you're setting your priorities, for example, and this one person is huge, but also really loves that event and always goes hard in it, right? Then does it make sense to include that? And where does that stack up with what we think the priorities are? Things are different. I mean, very, very ego driven. That usually becomes an issue if they're not being involved. I think our nation, it seems to be a little bit different. I feel like there's not a ton of ego in ED1, right? It's the team. Everybody realizes even if you're a big player, you can still die. Everybody dies. It's in the name. And nobody can win by yourself. So if you don't have a team, it doesn't matter, right? I can run into a farm alliance, and if they get 20 reigns, it's not going to matter, right? Can't win an elite war by myself. Can't win, any major event by myself, and that's just the way it is. So, I think that can often be an issue too when there's competition between ego and what that person brings to the table.
Yeah. The most successful alliances or worlds have managed to drop those egos. Like that's the one thing that seems to be the same. If you have ego wars, then that leads to civil wars and leads to all other kinds of nonsense.
Yeah, so if you're in a new nation, try to handle your egos. All
Well,
right.
there's always somebody that's got a big ego. You can't get rid of that.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's about managing it, and
Manage the
is
egos.
there is a question, we skip it or we didn't notice. It's not related
I know, I was
about
gonna
the
go to
art,
it.
but yes, the thoughts on a new merge strategy for two nation merge. For what I see, Camel made this for Globe 1 and Globe 2. They both still fat. They can't make a mistake merging three nation from Globe 1. So two nation would be the good one for Globe 1 and Globe 2. And also will make fast the merge in the future.
So basically, the question was, what do we think about two nation merges? Since we see that Camel started, instead of doing 3 and 4, they're doing 2. So like your nation and another one.
This
What
is
do you
good
guys
one.
think about it?
So
Um,
this question is part of the reason why I'm leaving the game.
Why?
Is the two nation merges gives me nightmares because I know that means merges are going to happen more often, and I can only do that shit once a year. Like I've only got it in me once a year.
Yeah, that's why I said in the last podcast when we had that question, it's gonna be a hassle if it's like frequently because you have to plant flags, you have to talk to people, and then agree on stuff, and just I feel like it's too much.
and
But then
and
again,
this
I'm a
this back
dying
Well,
us
nation.
to our core
it's the
conversation.
trolls.
Sorry,
It's the
one at a
trolls
time.
that you can go.
Sorry, Jay, can you go?
You're saying about the planet flags and other stuff. This back us to our R4 and R5 conversation. You can't do this alone. You have 10 deputies can do the job. Each
Yeah,
No,
one
that's
have
true.
different time zone.
no, agreed. It's not that. It's so everybody's got a different job, and we did that during our merge. But my job as the R5 was to come devise the overall plan and make sure everybody's sticking to it. But while you're trying to do stuff, you've got trolls, you've got people that are fighting against you. And it just makes the process unbearable sometimes.
That's why there is a block option. You can
But,
block them.
well, it's not blocking. I mean, they can plant cities right where you want to put a flag. It's
Welcome to 52. We have
no,
this
Mhm.
all the
yeah,
time. We
exactly.
have this all the time.
Yeah,
Alrighty
No,
then.
burning the field of trash is probably the worst part about a merger.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Believe me, nothing throws like 52. They will
Yeah.
do everything to annoy
well,
you.
no, they
But
do it in all nations, but it's particularly bad when you're trying to establish your alliance territory. You know what I mean? Well, once it's established, they control all they want. They can put little blockers. That's not that big of a deal. But
you know, when 52 merged, we already make around 30 or 40 farm alliance to block the area around us.
yeah, we did that too.
I think more than 50. Maybe I am alone have 20. Tires have maybe 40. Unknown have maybe 30. Maybe we cross 100 alliance. That's a lot to do. And each alliance can take the area he wants and block it. Hello, Barry.
Oopsies.
Ah,
Hello.
Barry, I'm already finishing the podcast and you just decided to join us?
That's me.
Okay, goodbye.
Oh,
You've been playing Diablo for too long and forgot about me. I'm mad
I'll
now.
help you. I was trying to help you here.
That was yesterday. I'm talking about today.
I can still help you today. I got a little bit. Gotta finish the campaign.
Okay, fine. 2 minutes. Tell me something that you regret being in R5. Go.
The whole entire aspect of it.
Yeah. Having 99
Go.
children.
You got
Ev-
99 problems, but a baby
Exactly.
mama ain't one.
this is
Right? Can you go more in deeper in that, Barry, please?
honestly, it's a full time job if you really take it seriously and you really actually do love your alliance and love what you're doing. It is a full time job because you, like Oxy said, you really do. It feels like you have 99 children. People always hitting you up, asking you this, that, and the fourth. Sometimes it's just absolute nonsense. It's just, and then dealing with players quitting, all that stuff. It's just a lot of work. And it's like everybody always relies on you to have an answer. It's just too much. I don't recommend if you guys heard any of that.
I
No,
heard
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And
My
the,
my thing works.
I heard
No.
it.
Alrighty then. I'm sorry, guys. We already reached at the 2 hour mark, and I promised, and I said we're gonna do this for 2 hours. It has already been 2 hours, so and I have to go to work. Okay, so for everybody, we talked about being in R5 and then R4, the daily difficulties and experiences they go through, we went through. And yeah, don't ask to be an R4 if you can't handle responsibility or be a sensible person in listening to your R5 or listening to your R4s, because for a nation, for an alliance to thrive, you need your leadership to work together and you need them, to do what is best for the alliance. If you are in R1 or 2 or R3, you just all you gotta do is just follow the rules, listen to what they say, read the damn mail. If somebody's sending a mail out, read it, please. And
For the
yeah,
love of God, we don't like writing them. We don't write them for our
exactly.
own
No.
benefit. We write them for yours. And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
read it and then complain about communication, you're gonna die.
Exactly. So for you little
And if you do read
peons,
it, you're gonna die.
Quite
There we-
possibly.
okay.
so yes, guys, please read the mail. It's very important. And follow the rules. That's all that we ask for as leadership. That's all. Nothing too hard.
Except for Lumberg, he wants to sing Kumbaya.
Except for Lumberg. We all sing Kumbaya and we all friends and buddy buddy. But like he said, he's not pacifist. He's only been R5 for a month, which he's so lucky because some people been R5 for 3 years and they're still suffering.
Like me.
uh like Barry, unfortunately. Poor Barry, right?
That
But
poor
yeah. Any last words from you guys? Anybody has one last comment before I end it?
yeah, Maddie.
Yeah, Barry, come live that R1 life in 52. I got you.
You already know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we caught him. We got Barry in 52 now.
You can't.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was a pleasure to play the game with everybody. This will definitely be my last podcast, and I am leaving Age of Origins. So it has been a fun ride. We have just basically accomplished everything I wanted to in the game, and I just don't see a reason to continue any longer. So
So, are you saying this is the last podcast I'm going to have you in?
this is definitely the last podcast you're going to have me in.
Oh. Maybe if I do a D4 podcast, maybe you'll come
If you
in.
do a D4 podcast, I'm all about it.
Well, it depends on the people. If anybody's going to be interested in that, maybe we'll do that. Who knows, right? We all need to retire at some point, right?
Well, the problem with D4 is we're all newbies compared to some of the other guys out there.
It's
So
okay. It's okay. It's what makes it fun, All right. Jay Lumberg, any last
Maddie.
comments?
what?
We'll miss you, Maddie.
Yes,
Thank
Maddie,
you. I
we'll
will
all
miss you
miss
Maddie,
you.
guys
You've
for
as
been
well.
everything
great.
you've done.
This
Yes.
is a lot for all game. Matthew was one of the best guys who make a lot of good video and
Well,
teaching.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Maddie, you've
I
been
am
really a good player.
and to be honest, I also learned from your video how long I play this game, but I'm still learning, and I learned from you. And thank you for your work.
Well, that is good to hear, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, Mr. J.
Oh,
Don't cry,
the
Barry.
feelings. It's so emotional.
So sorry, last comment. We're gonna miss Maddie, but nobody's gonna miss him as much as Raz.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ama-
this the fun will go.
You know, I'm waiting for Raz to send me a PlayStation Network friend request.
Oh Lord. Did he already do that?
No, not yet. I'm waiting on it though.
Did you send him did you send him your username?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Aw,
See,
shit.
guys, see what I mean? They're best friends. Why nobody believe when I said that? Maddie and Raz are best friends.
Yeah, we're drinking buddies.
Yeah, they're gonna play D4 now.
I mean,
Y'all,
I've been playing with Barry.
I've been playing with Barry too, but you don't play with me.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah, Barry's everywhere. Barry's been great in D4. I'm still trying to level up. Anyways, before we get off track, that is all for the podcast. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Thank you for everybody who donated for our iced coffee with extra espresso because it's so much needed for this tiring, gloomy day that I have going on. Thank you, Barry, Lombard, Maddie, Mr. J, and Oxy for tuning in, even though some of you came in late. But thank you very much for coming. And again, thank you everybody who came in and chatted with us. And thank you, Yor, as always, as being a moderator.
Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for tuning in.
Yeah. We'll see if we have another one. Maybe we'll change the time to something better for everybody to join in and be able to, put more input into it. Maybe in another week or two, we'll think about it. But yeah, so thank you everybody, and we're out. Bye.